Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the DUNU ALPHA3 earbud. This is not the first time I'm reviewing an earbud, but it is hopefully the first time of many more times that I will be reviewing earbuds. I have over the last couple of weeks, or maybe even a month or two, been undertaking let's say a crash course in earbuds, getting myself more acquainted, getting myself more knowledgeable about earbuds, and I've now reached the point where I feel comfortable enough to actually talk about it, and no better way to do that with the new Alpha 3. I mean, earbuds have got such a different, or should be taken with such a different approach that it is. First of all, I will apologize if I perhaps don't say a lot of things that will make sense or that will concur with those that are more experienced than I am when it comes to earbuds, as a lot of the comparisons, or rather a lot of the assessments that I make of earbuds, all based on my knowledge of IEMs, and I inevitably, even if I don't want to, will compare. Okay. Having said that, of course, earbuds have certain characteristics. The fact that the fit is a make or break. There are some people that just won't be able to get them to fit properly, and others will get them to fit in an adequate way that will get the best out of them. That will automatically kind of hinder to a certain extent the response or the sound that you would expect. The majority of the times, the majority of earbuds, because they don't seal very well, the bass output that they have is more a mid-bass centric output, and it's always very thin, so there's no real rumble, no real thump to anything, let's put it that way. And as well, then the extension in the upper mids and treble ends up being somewhat harsh a lot of the times as well. Luckily, not only with these earbuds that I have selected, but with some that I have been listening to over the last couple of weeks, I didn't really encounter major problems. Maybe the way that I am fitting them, it won't be the ideal because of certain adaptations I had to make to actually fit the earbud in a way that it kind of sealed my ear canal the best way possible. And the difference that I got in terms of sound by just putting them on and then putting them on and trying to make them fit nicely, it is absolutely, I mean, it's mind-boggling actually, the difference in sound. Anyway, with regards to the Alpha 3, this is an earbud they've just released. It costs around $79, so just under the $80 price point. Box, it's very simple, put it up. Inside, brings this little case which had the tips inside here, all right, and then the actual earbuds and the rest of the, well, tips is not the correct word, the foams, and then the rest of the stuff. Actually, sorry, let me just put this away like so. And then, okay, this is the actual case that it brings. Nice solid case, Duno branding. It brings those donut styled foams, okay, and the earbuds themselves are here. Okay, very nice looking earbuds, very nice, I have to say. Pretty. I mean, the stem, although large, didn't really bug me. It's got a nice cable, reminiscent of some of the cables that Duno makes for their higher end products. 4.4 termination. It's got two details which I want to bring your attention to, which is that there is a vent, as is that there on the top. Okay, so there definitely is some sort of venting system going on this in this stem. How it is working or not, I cannot say, because I didn't really find any information about it, but it definitely is, there is a venting system that's in the works there. They've got a reasonable weight to them, and the fact that they've got the stem kind of off puts the weight balance a little bit, but they've got a serious weight to them. And when I actually fitted them into my ear, and imagine that this now is my earlobe, instead of actually having to place them like this, I ended up having to place them with the stem facing forward, which might not be aesthetically the best position, but the reality is, by doing that, I got the maximum seal that I required, that I wanted, that I needed, and it worked beautifully. They bring these donut styled foams, as I mentioned, and I tried the completely sealed ones, but the completely sealed ones just closed down the upper mids and treble too much, in my opinion. So I reverted to the original ones, which is actually the ones that work the best, at least for me and for the majority of the earbuds that I've tried. In terms of the specs, they're using a 14.2 millimeter LCP diaphragm driver, so it's a little bit on the smaller side than what you usually see on earbuds. Usually it's 14.8 if we're talking about a PK, or then 15.4, which is the more common. 32 ohm impedance and 105 dB sensitivity. The 32 ohm impedance means it will be relatively easy to drive, and it is relatively easy to drive. It wasn't really no issue. I had it connected up with my NX7, although I did notice that hooked up through my Cayenne as through my RU7 as my deck, let's put it that way, I liked the sound slightly more than I did through my M15. I mean, they both sound fantastic, please, but I just preferred the little extra warmth that I got from the Cayenne NX7 combination. As I was saying, the fit, I had to do it in that manner where it faces forward, okay, and then the seal was pretty decent, and the sound was what I was expecting, plus more, actually, to be honest. The first thing that surprised me was, obviously, the majority of earbuds, the focus is on the mids, but the first thing that surprised me was how well present the bass actually was. Okay, there's a nice amount of not only bass weight, but bass impact. When you actually crank up the volume, you can actually almost get that feeling of the diaphragm vibrating, which I was actually surprised with, to be honest, to be totally frank. Bass, as I was saying then, very nice. I mean, it's nice. It's a punchy bass. There's not massive amounts of sub bass rumble, although in some songs, some EDM songs which have got a little bit more bass, let's say, weight on the lower frequencies, you do feel that it's there, and it's there in the enough amount to match up with the rest of the spectrum. The punch is definitely where it's a more mid bass or lower mid bass focused style of bass. Mids, very nice, both males and females. And then the treble was, for me at least, I would have liked just a little bit more treble, but the fact that it's non-sibilant, that it doesn't shout, that it's not trying to, make my ears bleed, that more than made up for that maybe a little bit less treble that I would have liked. Songs like I like listening to, which are Up and Up from Jeff Ryan, where you get that sax going on. That's a perfect song where this never bugged me for one instance, while for example in the Nice HCK, although very nice sounding as well, it did start to become a little bit too much. Okay, but anyway, before I carry on speaking about the sound and then the technicalities and so on, let me just say what I've selected. I've selected the Nice HCK EB2S, which is the latest one. This is priced at around $40. I mean, nice cable as well, nice looking shell. Also, it seems like it's got some sort of a venting system going on there, which has been well designed, or it's not just for aesthetic purposes. It uses an LCP driver as well, but this time a 15.4 millimeter one. And 32 ohm impedance, and they announced it with having a slightly higher sensitivity. The reality is, when I listened to this and back to back, I connected the Duno actually sounded louder at the same volume level, so I'm not sure about the sensitivity, if it's 100% correct. Okay, then I've got here probably one of my very first earbuds, and one which I still very much enjoy, although in terms of its build quality, not on the shell side but on the cable side, it is mediocre compared to the rest of the ones I've got selected here, which is the Temperament KS earphone LBBS. Sound wise, it's absolutely fantastic. The LBBS always surprised me from day one. Probably one of the ones that comes closest to an IEM in terms of its sound. Again, I apologize if what I'm saying, or if my comparisons are going to be a little bit with IEMs, but as I said, it's inevitable that I will do that comparison, okay? And then I've got two, well, it's basically the same unit, the M4 from Smabat. They're just using two different drivers. In this one, on this setup here, I've got it using the stock LCP driver, and this costs around the $55 mark, okay? It's a 40 ohm impedance driver and about 108 dB sensitivity, and the sensitivity kind of, the volume level kind of is equal to that of the Duno. And the other one that's here is the same M4 shell, but this time using the Biofiber Super 1 driver, because the M4 does allow for interchangeable drivers, which is a nice feature. This is a 100 ohm impedance driver and 104 dB, so actually the lowest. And yes, not only do you notice that, of course, being 100 ohms, it requires straight away more power to get it to, but you notice that it requires quite a bit more guts to get it going. Obviously with the NX7 that's never really an issue, so that's not a problem. And it's also the most expensive of the ones I've got here. I mean, the nice HCK is about $40, the LBBS is about $45.50, this one's about $55, and this one, if you have to buy basically the base set, which is $55, and then add on the driver on top of that, which is another $45. So this is $100, the Duno is $79. They are kind of more or less matched in terms of price. I mean, it's not an easy one to get absolutely, the price being equal, but they kind of are more overall matched. Anyway, continuing with the sound, which is what I was talking about. As I was saying, and I've mentioned the bass, I've mentioned the mids, I mentioned the treble. With regards to soundstage and imaging and detail retrieval, overall resolution and so on. Soundstage, it was good. It is a good soundstage. It is wide enough. I would have liked, and maybe this is because of what I've mentioned earlier, maybe because of the fact that the treble could have been just a little bit more, that I think would have helped give it just a slightly more out of the head kind of soundstage, a bigger kind of sense of space, which, for example, I got on the Smabat, the one we're using, the LCP stock driver, which is actually the base set, let's put it that way. That one actually has a slightly bigger soundstage, all right? In terms of the detail retrieval, I guess it is fine for earbuds. To be totally honest, I haven't found an earbud that really kind of surprised me in terms of its detailed retrieval, except of course for the more higher end stuff which I've heard, which I'm not gonna mention here, but at this price I haven't yet heard one that I said, oh wow, this has got ridiculous detail retrieval, it goes and fetches all the little twinklies and sparklies. I haven't yet encountered. Maybe some of you, or the more knowledgeable in this area, can maybe then point me out in the direction of one that I could try to experience that. So in terms of the detail retrieval, I think it's acceptable, it's fine, although not to the level that I am used to, or that I want, let's put it that way. Resolution, it's fine, no issues there. Imaging also very good. Imaging actually surprisingly is better than the soundstage. I mean, songs like Dreamcatcher from Billy McLaughlin, A Taste of Honey from Patricia Barber, the sense of soundstage and imaging on the Duno is actually quite nice. It's really nice. Like I said, the only real technicality that I was kind of left a little bit wanting more was the detail retrieval. Otherwise, in terms of the soundstage and the imaging, it was fine. Soundstage, the Smabat slightly better. Imaging, the Duno is better. Comparing it here on this side with the nice HCK and the LBBS. The LBBS, out of all of them, for me personally, is the one that has the most sub-bass presence out of all of them. Okay, in terms of mid-bass presence, the one that has the most is the Duno, without a doubt. In terms of lower, mid-range, so not upper mid-range, lower mid-range, up to about 2K. Again, the one that I think has the best mid-range is the Duno, followed then by the LBBS, and then by the 100 ohm Smabat. And then upper mid-range in treble, The one that has the most extension out of all of them over here, at least extension in terms of well, let me rephrase that. The one that has the most clean extension for me is the stock Smabat, okay? The one that actually extends the most is actually the nice HK, but it's a harsher reproduction. This one, the Duno, is not the one that has the most extension, but it's probably the one that has one of the smoothest one, the most unfatiguing, let's put it that way, extension. So the highest overall volume level of extension, okay, the nice HK, but it gets harsh. The highest, but maintaining itself, always composed, is the stock Smabat. The smoothest is the Duno with the LBBS and the 100 ohm Smabat coming in close second. And that's basically, in terms of timbre and tonality, I was forgetting that, which is always very important. The ones that I liked the most in terms of their timbre and the tonality were the Duno, the LBBS, and the 100 ohm Smabat. Not that these three are significantly ahead of the nice HTK or the stock Smabat, but they have a nicer timbre and tonality. Things sound just a little bit more realistic. It's on from George Duke. Nice, the way that the drum and the cymbals, and very nicely done on the Duno. Really nice. I was quite impressed. Hotel California, the Eagles, the live version. Everything, the guitar, everything sounds very organic, very true, very what it should be like. Okay, and that's it, guys. I mean, like I said, this is hopefully the first of many more reviews I will be doing in earbuds. Earbuds have to be, as I said in the beginning, approached with a different mindset. You don't go expecting crazy amounts of bass. Don't go expecting great amounts of extension. Although inevitably myself, with my experience, what I did was I try and find earbuds, or the ones that I at least prefer, are the earbuds that give me more that extension at both ends that I look for. I tried, for example, some earbuds from Venture Electronics. In terms of their mid presentation, absolutely faultless, not really nothing that can be said there. I just found them to be a little bit lean on the bass side most of the times. In terms of extension up top, it's fine, but lean on the bass side, except of course for the top of the line models. That's a different story. But the lower end models, the Monk and the Monk SM, I found them a little bit lean. They are very clean sounding, very detailed, but a little bit lean. And these kind of all give me more that vibe that I look for. If I have to say which is the one that's the leanest out of all of these, probably the nice HTK, but all of them have got that nice balance in terms of the bass having the weight that I want to match with the mids, and the upper mids and treble then have the extension that complement everything nicely. Anyway, guys, as always, like and subscribe. If there's any questions you have to ask me, please feel free to do so. All right, you take care now. Bye bye.